All right, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. Got our movie chat crew back here today. Tubin, aka Chris James, Woke Centrist, aka Dusty, and Scazio, aka Shizan. And we're going to talk about Memento, one of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies, also one of his earliest ones, his second one after his first one called Following. And so it's about 20 years old. It came out in the year 2000. And it's just such a fascinating movie. Just like most Christopher Nolan movies, it's so mind-bending and such a fascinating and complex psychological thriller. So, well, just to give a bit of a plot synopsis for people watching who have, if you haven't seen it, probably most of you watching this have. So this guy, played by Guy Pearce, he was an insurance salesman, and there was a home invasion in which his wife got attacked and killed, and he went into the bathroom where she was being raped. And I don't remember whether she was already dead or they were about to kill her, but he went in to stop the home invaders, and he shot and killed one of them, and then someone hit him in the back of the head, and it caused him to lose his short-term memory. So now he's on the hunt for his wife's killer to avenge his wife's death, and he's always taking Polaroid photographs of people who he meets and then writing little notes about who they are to remind himself. And he's always making notes for himself, and he puts tattoos all over his body for the most important facts. All of his tattoos are to do with information about his wife's murder. And it gets really interesting because we learn more and more about how people are manipulating him for their own purposes. And then towards the end of the movie, we find out that he's even been manipulating himself so he can still have this mission. And it's like, I think I remember, like, when I watched the special features on the Blu-ray that I have of it a long time ago, Christopher Nolan was saying it's a story told in reverse. Basically, like, they show you a scene and then they show you what happened right before that scene, and then you go, oh shit, that's how that person just manipulated him. And I really love this movie, and especially like the chilling ending of it too. So as we usually do, let's see what you guys think of this. So Dusty, you said you watched it a long time ago, but not since it came out in theaters. And I know.
No, I've seen it. I saw it again last week. I rewatched it.
Oh, okay. I meant before rewatching it, but yeah.
Oh yeah, a big gap.
So why don't you start? Why don't you start off then? Tell us what you think about it.
The very first time I watched the movie, it made absolutely zero sense to me at all. Like, I did not get it. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
I was like that the first time I watched The Prestige that we've talked about before.
Really? The Prestige did that to you?
Oh. Yeah, that's what the Prestige is, as far as I know. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, the Prestige does have a weird. It does do that too, where it has like, it goes out of sync, like with the timeline.
Yeah. I had to. That's one of the only two movies that I had to watch immediately after the first time I watched it, because I was like, "What the fuck just happened? I have to know what just happened."
Yeah. So unfortunately, since it was at a theater, I didn't have the luxury of rewatching it immediately. So I was left thinking of what the fuck just happened, at least for 10 years until I watched it again. And then when I did watch it again, I was like, oh shit, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. What was I saying?
That is brilliant.
Right. Yes. So
I agree.
Yep.
So I watched it just one time, and I was pretty confused. But then I saw a couple of YouTube videos, and it made more sense to me. And
Okay.
the payoff was amazing at the end. The twist.
Yeah. This is because it's such a complex movie, it's one of those where, like pretty much all of Christopher Nolan's other movies, the more times you watch it, the more you realize what was really going on. And it was I think it was maybe like my third or fourth time watching it this time, and it took that many times watching it for me to realize, especially at the end, holy shit, he's just so. The character of Natalie, played by Carrie-Anne Moss, Trinity. I like how two of the people from The Matrix are in this movie, and it came out like a year after The Matrix.
Oh, I completely forgot that Teddy's the other dude, like the guy.
Teddy's Cypher in The Matrix.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was like,
Joe
this guy looks
Pantoliano.
familiar. He looks familiar. I just couldn't pin him down.
Yeah. Well, obviously he's bald in The Matrix, right?
Right. He just looks like some weird like porn stash dude, pedophile.
Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah. But yeah, throughout the movie, this time when I was watching it, I kept pausing, and then at the end I was like, holy shit. So Teddy used the main character Leonard to kill Natalie's boyfriend, who was a drug dealer, and then she manipulated Leonard to kill Teddy, and they both did that by tricking him into thinking that both of them were the man who raped and murdered his wife. And then at the end of the movie, we find out that he also decided to trick himself into thinking that Teddy was the one who murdered and raped his wife, because he couldn't deal with the truth, which is that he already killed the person who killed his wife, but Teddy basically just gave him another target because it was like his life's mission. And then we get that chilling realization that I didn't understand the extent of that until this time too, that that whole thing that's really crucial to the plot about Sammy Jenkins, that story of him where when the main character was an insurance investigator, he determined that the guy who has the exact same condition that he has now, and his insurance company determined that the guy's condition was psychological, therefore he couldn't get insurance for his condition. So his wife, because she so desperately wanted him to realize that he could fix his memory problem, and because she clarified that with Leonard, she basically just kept turning the time back on her watch and got Sammy Jenkins to give her insulin shots until she died from insulin overdose. And then we find out at the end of the movie that he has this completely made up memory of this guy Sammy Jenkins in his mind, or like it could be that, but we don't know for sure because Teddy is the one who's telling him that too. And like throughout this movie, you know that you can't really trust anyone, and it's like, is Teddy an undercover cop? Is he actually a criminal? Is he a criminal pretending to be a cop? Is he a cop pretending to be a criminal? And he mentions the possibility that Sammy Jenkins was just an average case, and his wife supposedly survived the attack, and then he was the one who killed. She was the one who died and who was diabetic because he gave her an insulin overdose because she tricked him into giving her insulin over and over again until he died. And then he connected this to this whole false memory of his memory of Sammy Jenkins because he couldn't deal with the truth, which is why at the end of the movie, which since the movie is in reverse, is actually the start of the movie, we see that he couldn't accept how horrifying the truth is, so he's telling himself these stories. And it's made me think of another interesting theme this time, which is how much of our identity is constructed by our memories, and which is inherently unreliable, and his lack of short-term memory really points that out. So I love this whole theme of like, who can he trust, and can he even trust himself? But yeah, that was my long ramble.
Yeah, you pretty much went through the whole plot there.
Yeah, I remember one of the characters, I don't remember who it was, I think it might have been Teddy, told Leonard that basically that Leonard is a nobody because he has the inability to create new memories, which means like his identity is bogus, or he can't even create an identity at that point. And that's kind of true, because Teddy constructed some of this identity for him in order for him to play a role to be this assassin that basically works on Teddy's behalf.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, and I didn't even realize this until you said it. I didn't realize that, what's her name? Nikki?
Natalie.
I didn't even realize that Natalie was actually using Leonard as a weapon to get Teddy. I guess I only just realized it now because when she returns with the DMV document, but that says John Gamble or whatever the name is, John G.
Yeah.
But that is his real name, John G.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's weird.
So he's the insurance guy? Sorry, he's the other guy that he was imagining?
Well, John G is the guy. It's funny because
we never find out who actually killed his wife.
But did he say? Because I know he was trying to construct clues right after Teddy gave him like the whole, like at the very end of the movie where Teddy confesses that he's basically been manipulating him the whole time. And then at that point, Leonard starts creating his own clues to the murderer. Did he include John G in that, or was John G always the murderer guy?
Well,
it was tattooed.
Yeah,
on
John G was always the murderer guy. Yeah,
because it was tattooed.
And
that was on the top.
And remember, like Teddy even himself said, "Hell, I'm a John G. You know how many John G's there are in the world?" And that, like, that's another time where you can notice that, holy shit, he's killed at least 3 people. He's like a serial killer without knowing that he's a serial killer.
Yeah, so we assume that he's killed the original John G, and then the guy he stole the suit from, and then Teddy.
Yeah.
Right. So, and he's probably done it more than that, because I know Teddy alludes that he's been using him for a while to do these hits or whatever. So we don't even know how many other people he's killed thinking he's avenged his wife's murder. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fucking chilling, right? It's like just as chilling as the ending of The Prestige.
Right. One thing I did want to do or see. I know there's like a chronological version of the movie on like special edition somewhere.
On YouTube.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, there's one on YouTube. I gotta check it out.
Some guy cut and paste and put the whole entire thing together. And
how long is it? It must be pretty short, right?
I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. But
it shouldn't be that long because it's.
But he even did, like, if you notice throughout the movie, there's the black and white scenes that he's kind of doing where he kind of goes through and explains about the guy, I forget his name, that's doing the test that shocks himself.
Right.
And then there's the actual color scenes that are supposed to represent the mixed up timeline. But the guy on YouTube, he went and he did like the whole black and white first, and then he went and did all the color scenes after that.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
think the black and white all occur like during.
Oh,
a
so it's
phone
all
call.
jumbled up. It's not in reverse order.
Well, I know there was a special edition, like in the bonuses and the extras, where they shot the movie in chronological order.
Oh, okay.
On one
I
of
haven't
the-
seen that.
I don't know which special edition has it, but because I was doing some research on the movie, I think even on the Wikipedia page it says that one of the bonus features is the movie shot in chronological order.
Hmm.
So I wanted to check that out sometime.
Yeah, there's also a YouTube video of like Christopher Nolan going through the whole like timeline on a whiteboard, and
Oh, he
Oh,
does like
cool.
he talks about it, like kind of like a commentary type deal.
yeah, he does. And you know what else I didn't know is that his brother was
The writer.
the writer. Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
his brother Jonathan Nolan writes I think all or most of his scripts.
Really,
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
I don't think he wrote the Batman scripts though, did he?
I think he did actually. Let me check.
Really? He did the
Really?
Batman scripts too?
I'm sure Warner Brothers had a few writers involved in that project.
Yeah, I think it's something like he and his brother usually write the story, and then his brother writes the screenplay or something like that. So like he has Christopher Nolan has a hand in the writing process too, but I think it's his brother who I think it's either that way or the other way around.
Well, it's a good combination. Because I don't think he'd be able to make a movie like this without that type of collaboration.
Yeah, for
something
sure.
as complex as this movie is.
It says The Dark Knight is co-written by Christopher Nolan.
But not his brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, I didn't know this, that Jonathan Nolan wrote the short story called Memento Mori on which the film Memento is based. He also was co-writer with Christopher Nolan on The Prestige, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, and also he co-wrote Terminator Salvation. That's way less.
Basically all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But not Inception?
Let me see.
Inception sounds like it would be right up their alley.
Yeah, for sure.
What's that newer movie that just came out?
Tenet.
Yeah,
I definitely.
haven't seen it yet.
I don't remember whether he did, but it wouldn't surprise me because that's a super fucking cerebral movie too. I'm having a harder time. Who wrote the script for Inception? There we go. It doesn't tell you. That's weird. Oh, apparently Christopher Nolan wrote the script for Inception.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, Jonathan Nolan, he has certainly helped write a lot of his movies, like we were talking about.
Cool.
So, I don't think we got your thoughts in general about the movie yet, Chris.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I like you guys when I first watched it. I was like, "What the hell was that?" It was kind of I had to And I watched, I feel like I saw it like, I can't remember, but probably because it came in 2000. So probably shortly thereafter.
Mhm.
And then I watched it recently and I watched a few YouTube videos in prep for this. But yeah, it was just, I didn't really get it until I went through it recently. But yeah, just good acting. Yeah, the storyline. I remember when I watched it the first time. I think because I was like in my early 20s, and it was you used to get like stoned out of your tree before you watched movies. And that's probably why I didn't understand the timeline and that. So
Yeah, same here. I was pretty stoned when I was watching it, but as I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it requires like, well, whether you're sober or not, it still requires like 2 watches at
yeah, it
least
does
to
because
understand what's going on.
yeah, there's so many clues and stuff like that that yeah, you either miss or you don't really put together because it's so kind of confusing at first when you first watch it.
Yeah.
That yeah, you just yeah, you don't know what's going. You're trying to put like the first time I watched it, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I thought when I first watched it that he was the guy in in the black and white that was doing the test, like that had the same kind of syndrome as him. That he would ultimately be that guy because his wife, he was
Oh,
shooting,
like that's him when he's older or something
yeah,
like
or something
that?
like that. But that didn't end up being true at all, obviously. But um, yeah, it was just yeah, I was just trying to put together the plot in my head and who killed his wife and um, yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, no, I enjoyed the film. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great movie.
yeah, it is a good
So
movie. But again, like yeah, you need to watch it like multiple times and yeah.
it's one of them like kind of like Inception in a way. It kind of ends on a mystery, like a little bit similar to Inception, where at the end you see that top spinning and basically it wobble, you see it wobble but not falls, so it's
Mhm.
left up to the audience to decide whether the main Leonardo DiCaprio's character, whether his entire experience during the movie has been a dream or real. It's similar in this way, like uh, who who really killed his wife? Is everything that Teddy said true? Has he been telling himself a lie about Sammy Jenkins this whole time to protect himself from the horror of the truth? What really happened? We get a lot more answers, but
Mm.
we don't get like definitive answers on everything.
No, and if you watch the interview with Christopher Nolan, he set it up that way. He wanted it kind of like I, I don't want to say blotchy because it's not blotchy, but he wanted it edited in a way where there's just like memory is kind of like is like that where you only remember like bits and pieces and that kind of stuff. Like if you remember a traumatic event or if you look back on a family member that's passed away or anything like that, you remember these. You don't remember like lengthy periods of times and speeches. A lot of the times, you just remember little blotches and that kind of stuff. So he wanted to set up the script and the cinematography, sorry, in a way that was similar to how your memory acts as a human being. It's like all over the place and you don't know what's going on. And yeah, going back to what I said earlier, it definitely requires multiple viewings for sure.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
thought
that was
that his
I
wife
know. Have you?
actually. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just watched it once, so my understanding's bad. But what I thought was his wife. It actually happened that the junkies raped his wife, and then to cope with that, he became like this, and his wife couldn't handle that and was making him give her insulin.
Oh, okay, so you think like what Teddy said is true, basically?
Yeah, but Teddy also had like the drug dealer. Also at the end tried to take the drug dealer's money, right? Teddy's
Yeah,
kind of Teddy's kind of corrupt.
yeah,
Yeah, Teddy's
yeah. I
pretty
mean,
twisted.
yeah, for sure. I mean that is interesting too, and like I lean towards that interpretation too, like partially because it's more interesting because like you see how manipulative of a character he is, but it's to me it's even more interesting that he's super manipulative, but he's still also telling the truth about how much Leonard has been manipulating himself, and we know that he has been manipulating himself, whether what Teddy says is true or not, because he sets up Teddy as the target for John G himself when Teddy tells him what we think is the dark truth about that he's already killed John G, and then all that stuff about what really happened with his wife and how this story about Sammy Jankis was actually the story about him.
One question I have is who's Dodd?
Dodd is he's that blonde guy who that means that Leonard killed at least 4 people. I can't believe I forgot about Dodd. He's that
Well, I don't know if he
that
killed Dodd. I know he put him in a closet.
didn't he? Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. That's why I didn't think it was 4. He put him in the closet, and then we didn't see what happened with him after then, I guess, right? I was confusing that scene with the scene where he killed Natalie's boyfriend, the drug dealer. But yeah, we don't know what happened with Cobb, but that's a good question actually, because we don't know
I
who
don't
he
even
is for
know
sure.
who he is. I don't know what
I
his
mean,
purpose was in the movie.
I
I don't.
think it seems to be the case that that he was maybe working with Natalie's boyfriend, and or did she manipulate Leonard into going after him too?
Did she suspect Dodd for killing her boyfriend? Maybe, I don't know.
I think I don't remember. I don't remember whether.
Because remember, she got Richard or got Leonard to hit her, and then she came
Yeah,
back and
that's
pointed.
when she sent him after Teddy, wasn't it?
No, that's when she sent him after Dodd.
Oh, okay. So maybe yeah, that's really interesting too, because so then that means that if Teddy was a cop, then maybe Dodd was also an undercover cop working with him, and that's why Natalie sent Leonard after him. Or if Teddy was not a cop, then maybe the maybe Dodd also was not a cop, or maybe he was a cop and he was trying to stop Teddy, who was actually the drug dealer. That it could be the case either way. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, it's not really clear. I think I don't know. I think Teddy is probably just a corrupt cop.
Yeah, it's definitely he's using a vigilante to kill drug dealers.
He's like
and
basically
stealing their money.
he's pointing him at he points him at drug dealers, and he steals the drug dealers' money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think Teddy actually is a drug dealer, but he definitely likes to kill them and take their loot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe Dodd is part of the criminal underworld in some form or fashion. It's just not really clear if he's a cop or if he's just another rival drug dealer or one of Natalie's boyfriend's associates. I don't know. Or I don't have no idea. Yeah. Because we never find out who Dodd is.
What were you saying there, Shizan?
Also, is Leonard like a psychopath, or is he just that he's just demented? So, how would you guys classify him?
I don't know, man. Like, that's a really good question because, like, he's been manipulated into killing people and doesn't remember it because he can't remember it because he can't make new memories and he has no short-term memory. But you could say that he's kind of psychopathic, like at the end of the movie when he literally decides to manipulate his future self into thinking that Teddy was the John G who raped and murdered his wife, so he can kill him because he's mad at him for telling him the dark truth about how he actually killed his wife and it accidentally, and it wasn't Sammy Jenkins who did that. So you could say that, especially if that last part is true.
And he doesn't record it either, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. And that's another interesting too, that that you reminded me of earlier, Dusty, that we never actually find out who it was who raped and killed his wife. And it's like in the movie, it's almost set up that the identity of the person who killed his wife is not that important. I think Teddy is actually right about that when he says that to Leonard. Like, whoever
He says
killed,
it's not important because he's already dead.
yeah.
And
But that's part of it too. Like, he's already dead, but he wanted to keep him killing people because he knows that it's his only purpose for living, and Leonard proves him right when he decides to manipulate his future self into killing Teddy.
Yeah, and then it's not clear that his wife was actually murdered anyway, because there's the story of the rape and murder. But the thing is, she did not die before he suffered his brain injury. So,
Yeah, we were talking about Teddy mentioning that before, right? And like whether he was telling the truth or not when he said that. And I think it seems like Shizan and I both agree that it at least seems most likely that Teddy was telling the truth about that. And
yeah,
or
because
at least
remember we
that's what
have Leonard replays his memories with his wife,
Mhm.
and then he substitutes some of the interactions he has with his wife. Because I remember there was a part where she says "ouch," and he was telling her, "Oh no, your wife was the one that was the diabetic."
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
like, "What?" But that's another thing too that makes me think that that Teddy may have been a cop, because he would have had like access to that type of information without having to talk to Leonard about it, like
Yeah.
court records and stuff like that he probably could have pulled up. And so I think
And
Teddy was probably telling the truth, because he really had no reason to lie, knowing that Leonard wasn't going to remember anything because of his condition. So I think
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think most of the stuff he's saying was the truth, and that it's likely that she survived the attack, and that he may have been the one that killed her. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, it might have been Leonard that killed her, right?
Yeah, it's possible that the whole Sammy.
He was the only one committing murders throughout the whole entire film, pretty much, right?
Well,
Chris,
it could have
what
been
do
that the Sammy Jenkins was not like
exactly.
because they're saying like he confused the Sammy Jenkins story with his own story,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
it's possible that he's the one that could have killed his wife with the insulin overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're very similar. Yeah, it's possible, and we never kind of find out there at the end. So
That's very ambiguous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that goes back to like what you're saying. The plot kind of is left open with you, kind of and there's multiple movies that end kind of like that with you thinking or coming up with your own kind of plot of what would happen in the end. Which
I love movies like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it makes conversations like this definitely interesting, right? Because you can like debate it back and forth and who did what.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was just thinking of like another really interesting question that's really up to an interpretation in the movie. When Leonard is getting all those phone calls at the hotel, who do you guys think is calling him? Do you think it's Teddy? Do you think it's Teddy and other people? Do you think it's just Natalie? Like there's so many possibilities with that because we never actually see who is talking to him or hear their voice.
I think it's Teddy. Because we know that...
I thought it was Teddy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know they say, oh, the cop is trying to call you or the cop is trying to see you. I think whenever the cop is mentioned, it's Teddy that's trying to get in contact with Leonard.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty investigative, right? The questions, like it seemed like he was getting interrogated on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone was trying to get info out. So maybe Teddy was trying to solve so that's my opinion. I just watched it once, but maybe Teddy was trying to investigate him and also use him at the same time. Like Teddy doesn't trust Leonard's story either, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. He was that explains like the sort of conflicting things that he was doing. And the conflicting
that would
things
make
that
a
he
lot
was
of
saying.
sense. Yeah, you're right. You just like opened up a new like little thing for me. That makes totally a lot of sense. Like, because we do see that towards the end of the movie, like Teddy contradicts Leonard's personal narrative, and maybe during those conversations that he had with him over the phone, that's where he was. Maybe he had looked into Leonard more and he was following up to see what Leonard had remembered, possibly. So, yeah, that's an interesting angle there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That really does like put it at least provides a lot more clear answers, evidence at least of Teddy having been the one who was on the phone with him and asking him all of these questions. And that was also a really clever film tactic by Christopher Nolan, because it was a way of explaining the case of his wife with exposition in a natural way.
Now I want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's making me want
I want to watch
again.
the version that's cut. Like, I think after we're done with this chat, I'm going to find that version that's chronological and just watch it.
Did anyone watch the Nolan explanation? That video I didn't watch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Nolan explanation video would be interesting to watch, too.
I think it was
Did you watch that, Chris?
I watched a little bit of it. I know it was like 20 minutes long or something like that, but I didn't watch all of it, no.
Okay. No, I haven't seen it either. I definitely have to watch that.
Yeah,
I might have seen it, but maybe don't remember it if it's like actually a clip from the special features on the Blu-ray. But I don't. Is it like actually an interview on someone's YouTube channel?
No, it's actually, I think it is taken from the Blu-ray. It's just an interview with him. He's got a whiteboard and he basically goes through the whole plot line and answers. It's almost like somebody's like documenting, like doing a mini documentary on him or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't watch all of that. I want to go back and watch it fully now, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the edited version that's in chronological order, I think that would actually be a lot less interesting. Because I think if you tell this story in chronological order, it's kind of just like, it kind of sounds like just a typical murder mystery.
Yeah, I just wanted to do that to make a little bit more sense.
Sense of the timeline. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that would help with that. Yeah.
Although, yeah, I can see your point, Andrew, that it would be like, I think it would take away some of the interesting plot, like what's going to happen next by it going kind of in a weird sequence like that. It leaves you wondering, or you can like
there are no spoilers whatsoever if you watch it in chronological order.
yeah, exactly. And you can, I don't know, you can get to a point where you're kind of like, you know, because we're human beings, we're good at recognizing pattern. Like when he's chasing after Dodd and all that kind of stuff, and he goes back and then it goes. I forget what the next scene is, but you can kind of know, what's going to happen next because you've already seen it before. So
yeah, like he forgets what he's doing in the middle of running away from Dodd, and then starts chasing after him before he realizes that he's being chased, and then he puts him in that closet, and he has a drink, and then he wakes up and forgets why he's there. And no, he breaks into.
He takes a shower,
there's a few scenes. There's a few scenes.
He breaks into Dodd's hotel room, and then grabs like an empty liquor bottle, and then he forgets why he's there. So he thinks it's his hotel room. So he takes a shower, and then Dodd comes in, and then he attacks him while he's taking a shower.
There's a few humor scenes like that because before he does that, he's like, I think on the piece of paper he reads it like number 9, so he goes and he breaks into the guy that's at number 9 by looking through the keyhole and knocks him down. Then he realizes, oh shit, it's actually number 6, and he has to go over and do it again. There's a few funny moments like that, or when he's chasing or when he's in that scene with Dodd and he doesn't know if he's chasing him or if he's the one being chased.
yeah. So it looks like I'm chasing this guy. Oh nope, he's chasing me.
It's in me.
That's another really interesting point too, like about how he can mix up his notes. Like that's one of the points that Natalie makes. She says you just follow, you just do. You just live your life based on things you find in your pocket, because he has that coaster for the bar that she works at, and he tells her that's why he's there, and that, like, we know the more we watch of the movie, we know that that's how people manipulate him. They give him notes. They tell him where to go, so he makes notes based on what people tell him. So he doesn't even know that he's not actually trusting himself. He's trusting what people told him.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people manipulate him too. Like even the guy that works at the hotel is manipulating him, right?
Yeah, they charged him for 2 rooms.
Yeah.
He wouldn't remember.
He's renting out multiple rooms to him. Yeah.
He comes clean though.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because like there are like lots of clues that they ask, like other people ask him, like, where'd you get that suit? How are you paying for all this? You know, that car is a little bit nice for someone who's an insurance, agent, So there's kind of like a lot of red flags that they try to throw at you to get you to think more about his particular situation.
Well, and then it turns out that he just
he just steals the drug dealer's
life insurance policy because he worked in insurance. Yeah, and he kills the drug dealer and steals his suit and car. That's how he got them. That's probably how at least Natalie found out about him too, because like maybe people around town noticed that car because they know that he's a drug dealer, so people know him. And they notice that it's not him, and it's this other guy wearing his clothes and driving his car.
Yeah, because the life insurance policy thing is not something he would know about for sure, because if the payout happened after his accident, unless he's written notes about what actually happened, he wouldn't actually know. Like, it would be up in the air. And He's just making a guess as to how he has these clothes and this car and the money.
Mm-hmm. And he's just trusting that what he has been doing, like he's been doing the right things. He hasn't been making mistakes, which is such a ridiculous expectation.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't caught. Like, Teddy must be protecting him or something from the inside.
Yeah, well,
'cause-
that kind of relates back to like that theory that you mentioned before, that makes a lot of sense, that maybe he's a cop,
Well, it
and
does seem that Teddy,
he's using him, but he's also investigating him.
Well,
at
you
the
do like
same time.
after I watched it a second time, I did notice that Teddy was trying to protect him throughout the movie. So he's saying, "Oh, what are you doing wearing these clothes? And what are you doing out here? You should be laying low, and you need to get out of town." Blah 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 blah. So it does seem that he's genuinely trying to make sure that he doesn't get caught for killing this drug dealer. By monitoring him and seeing what he's up to. Because, Teddy, we see that he wants him to skip town. And I believe that Teddy is lost control over Leonard at that point. Because he already did the deed, but then he keeps meeting with Teddy, and Teddy's like, "What are you still doing here?"
That doesn't.
We've already got the guy. Well, in his mind, it's like, we already got the guy, but he doesn't really tell Leonard that because he needs to keep that piece of information away from Leonard to make him continue to be useful. But he's completely lost control over Leonard at that point, and he's trying to get him to leave Skip Town, because this seems to happen the movie can't be more than like 24 hours or 48 hours. It seems like it's pretty quick. And he would just wants him to skip town. So it does seem that Teddy does want to continue to use Leonard as a tool.
Yeah, that makes more.
Could be his cash cow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, his cash cow, right?
That makes more and more sense the more I think about it too. Because if he is a cop who's using him, like he's like, for example, everyone in town apparently knows that Natalie's boyfriend was a drug dealer. So he, like, as a cop, you might have the mindset that, drug dealers are bad. This guy is a bad guy. He should be killed. I don't have to follow the law if I can just use this guy to kill him.
And steal their money.
That's why I should prevent him from getting caught too.
He was roboting.
Yeah.
Let's see about. I don't think he's with us anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
You were roboting there for a while.
I lost your audio for a bit there, dude.
Oh yeah, I lost audio as well for a bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
And then your face is like locked into a perpetual stare into the camera. I think he's
Was I
frozen
roboting there for a sec?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely roboting. I think he's delayed also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably like off by 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So all of his responses are like 30 seconds late, which is strange.
Yeah, he's lagging. It was a nice paint job, by the way, Dusty, on the car.
Mine is still.
Oh yeah, thanks. That was definitely a project. Definitely a project. It looks good from afar.
Oh crap!
I'll tell you that much.
It looks really fine from here.
Yeah, from afar, it looks pretty good. From like 5 feet away, you start noticing things, though.
Was it your first project?
It's my first full paint. Like I've painted doors and stuff before. I never painted a whole car, but I've just painted. I never done body work before, so I did body work this time, and that took forever.
Right on.
That's a lot of dedication.
Yeah, took me a month.
And do you just use like
Andrew just cut out?
you just use like spray paint or whatever?
No, I got like straight up. I went to automotive car paint store, and I have a sprayer. So I had to mix the paint myself, put in a spray gun, and I shot the car. Like real car paint is actually pretty expensive. Because it was $87 a quart for red.
Wow.
And I had to buy 3 quarts.
Is that a Toyota? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a Toyota.
Yeah. Standard?
Yeah, it's manual transmission.
Yeah. I got a Civic that's standard, and I was thinking the other day, man, I'm like, these things are gonna be like they're dinosaurs, right? People are gonna look back. Like my kids watch me drive standard, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know?
Yeah, it's a 30-year-old car, man. It's not young at all, but it's basically the poor man's Supra.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like there's a Supra and then the Celica, which is like the crappy version of a Supra.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's standard. I put new wheels and tires on it.
Sweet.
The spray job was fun. I did it in my garage, and like the gold effect was pretty.
Oh, you had a whole setup going. I saw your story.
Yeah, actually, because I had built a booth, and then later on I bought like a canopy and had the canopy covering the garage. Because this is an apartment complex. I did most of the spray painting at night because I didn't want to bug people with like paint fumes in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But I got no complaints from neighbors. Like I only got compliments. They're like, "Hey, you did a really good job." Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Yeah, cool, thanks."
Sweet.
But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Reason I don't is it's such a time sink. Like I literally spent an entire month of working on the car every day. It just takes that long.
Wow.
Actually, one of the biggest reasons it took that long is the many mistakes I made. So I had to fix a bunch of my mistakes, and that cost me like weeks. So I know one of my biggest mistakes was I shot the entire car with epoxy primer, and I only needed to shoot the parts with exposed bare metal. And epoxy primer is ridiculously difficult to sand, and I had a bunch of runs that I shot in the epoxy primer, and it took me an entire week to sand it down. And then I had to shoot it again with a different type of primer. That one was okay. That was really easy to sand, but I had to finish the car before my wife got home. So,
Oh, she didn't know
and
you were doing it?
no. She knew. It's
Okay.
just that we use our garage for storage.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
all of the shit that was in the garage, I
It was all
put it
covered
all in
up
the
and
living
shit?
room. No, it was all in the living room.
Okay.
Oh,
So the living room was completely full of like storage containers while I was doing this job in the garage.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I have a hard deadline of the 26th, so let me try to get this shit done.
Yep.
So I actually skipped a step, which actually didn't end up hurting anything because I was supposed to sand it to 600 grit, and I just sanded it to 400, which was fine, and ended up not causing me any issues. And then while I was painting it, I got some massive clear coat runs. That's fine. I could fix that shit later. I actually should have shot more gold on the car. I shot a whole quart on the hood, and then the rest of the car is a quart. So the gold effect is really uneven. So on the hood, it's like extremely prominent. And then when you go around the car, it's not that prominent. And then there's like some splotchy areas if you're really being meticulous. But it looks way better than it did before, so I'm happy. Like before, it was just like a faded paint job with the clear coat falling off. Let me go ahead and take this call.
Andrew's back.
Yeah, it
Can you
looks
hear us,
frozen
Andrew?
still.
Oh, he's frozen again.
Yeah, he's frozen.
So how's it going, Chris?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. Looks like my libertarian net is doing better today
Your
so
libertarian
far.
internet?
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's holding up better than Andrew's, obviously. So,
yeah.
and where are you right now?
I'm in Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Gotcha. So, what time is
Yeah,
it there?
it's 10:42 in the morning.
10:42. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 1:45 here.
Quarter to
It
one.
is 12, and it's 12:42 here.
Yeah, 12:42.
Dang, you're like 10 hours ahead of us, 9 hours ahead.
Wow.
I think, was that Andrew sending a message?
Yeah, I think he said he's going to restart his router and then try again.
Okay, yeah, hopefully he can get back on.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, you guys. I just gotta see who's up and over here real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool. So what's
This is change. Yeah. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say what the weather was like your way, but
Oh, it's really hot, and my fan is off because it's gonna make noises.
yeah, for sure.
It's like really, it's like a wet hot. It's like a jungle kind of jungly weather.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Vietnam. The terrain is kind of like Vietnam. Pretty close to, yeah.
Gotcha. I would only know from movies. I've never been anywhere close to there, but yeah, that's crazy that it's like in the morning for you. That's such a time change.
Yeah, it was a 21-hour flight.
Wow.
Over here.
Just straight, or do you do layover anywhere?
Oh, there was a layover and then another 9 hours.
Yeah. And you're from California, right? So did you leave from there?
Yeah, I left from San Francisco and then I went to Istanbul.
Yep.
And then I went to Dhaka.
Right on.
Yeah, I was worried about the whole COVID thing, the test, like getting the test results. There's like a 3-day window for flights. So yeah, I was worried if I would get a test result back by that time, but yeah, luckily got one. Now the challenge is gonna be getting one from here and getting it on time, so I can go to San Francisco.
Yeah, they're expensive. My parents went from Canada to US, and it was like $300 for them to get a COVID test to make sure that they could cross the border. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I don't know if you had to pay at all for your test, but
Yeah, I had to pay, and it was like $80 for me and my mom.
Hmm.
So 40 bucks per person. It was kind of on the cheap side. I think there's some free ones as well in California.
yeah.
But I hear over here there's a test that's like $1.50. The one that I'm gonna do over here
Mm-hmm.
to go back. So this one's gonna be pretty cheap, but I just hope it gets in time, and I hope it's internationally recognized. I have to make all that sure
Yeah,
before
for
I
sure.
do
If
that.
it is
Problem
stock,
is,
stock up.
oh, you cut out. Looks
Oh,
like my
mine.
internet's, or it's yours.
Yeah, maybe.
What were you saying? Now it's fine.
I was saying
Oh.
if it's less than $2 a test, stock. Make sure I wonder if you could stock up and bring multiple tests so that you could use it when you get back into the United States. But I guess that would go back to if it's recognized internationally, though, too.
Yeah. I think the one they recognize is like rapid PCR test called. I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Hmm.
But it's like a good. I lived in a suburby area in California.
Yep.
Now I'm in the middle of one of the most densely populated cities in the world. I think it's the 8th or 9th most densely populated city in the world. It's like 21 million people in one general area. It's like more than New York.
Wow, that's
It's
crazy.
like a crazy urban jungle over here.
Yeah, that's insane.
Do people get electrocuted a lot over there?
People?
Yeah.
There's death sentence, I think, for murder.
Oh no, that's
It's
not
not
what I meant.
electric.
Like, I meant just like people, as I know, like in crazy places where there's not a whole lot of regulations, people get crazy with like electricity and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I think they regulated it, but there were cases where the buildings didn't have good earthing before, and it's like a very stormy area. There's like a lot of storms here, like pouring rain and storms. So yeah, it was dangerous. But nowadays there's some regulations. It's not completely free market, but there's some regulations in housing, like building house. You have to there are some rules.
Okay, because I used to go to Live Leak. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that website. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to look up on Live Leak is electrocutions. It's like people touching electricity and getting shocked. I know it's horrible, but I don't know. I just get entertained in weird ways. Like the two things that I like to look up are electrocutions and helicopter crashes.
Like accidental, like people getting electrocuted from sockets and stuff.
Accidental. Not like electric chair or anything. Just like people accidentally touching like live wires and stuff. Like I remember there was one, I think it was India, and some dude is just walking on top of a train car, and he accidentally touches like one of the live wires there. And I swear to God, it looks like for like half a second that he turns into Super Saiyan, and then he just drops. I was like, holy shit, he was like a Super Saiyan for half a second, and then I don't know if he died or not. It's not clear, as there's no articles written with these videos, so we don't know if the person survives or not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a
Yeah,
video.
there's the government is too small, and the people, there's like too many people to properly regulate. It's pretty crazy in this part of the world.
Yeah, that's what
I know
that's
it's
why I saw a
more
lot of those
regulated in like Vietnam and
electrocutions.
China.
Yeah, because a lot of those electrocutions that I saw, I'm like looking at everything. I was like, man, look at all these electrical wires going out everywhere. It only takes
Oh
like
yeah,
very
they're
little.
not like underground. They're like overground, and it's
They're
stormy.
all up above, hanging everywhere. I was like, man. And then you just see random people walking through like a flooded area, and one just drops because they didn't know that there was like a live wire in the flooded area. So I don't know, it's freaking crazy dangerous. Like I'd be afraid to walk in any flood water if I was kind of in an area with like all of these electrical wires dangling everywhere.
Am I back there now, guys?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Hey, Andrew's back. Welcome back.
Yes.
That's right. We're just talking about people getting electrocuted in the third world.
Okay. How did that come up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
how did
Dusty
we get
likes
there?
watching people get electrocuted.
Yeah, on liveleak.com.
No, because we
Or
were
like helicopter crashes and electricity. Those
Yeah.
are fun.
No, we were asking Shizan what time it was and everything where he is right now. So he was telling us, and then somehow we got to Dusty watching YouTube of
Yeah, it's like
horrific
almost
deaths and
11 in the
shit.
morning here.
Well, we don't know if they're deaths. Like I
Oh,
said,
wow.
it's just like a video without any follow-ups. So I don't know how many of these people that I've seen actually died or not. I know one of the ones I watched had to have been a death because the dude's body was smoking. But
Yeah.
this
Holy
one,
shit.
the one where I saw the guy that was smoking, I think it was in China. It's like four dudes were like moving some super tall scaffolding, and then they touch a live wire, and all four dudes were stuck to the scaffolding,
God.
like getting
Holy
shocked.
shit.
And I think one of them got away, but then while he was getting away, he touched it again, and then he got shocked for a little bit, and then he got back up, but his clothes were like burnt, so he must have been cooking a bit. Because when I was
Why do you
painting my
like
car, oh
watching
my
that
god,
shit,
man!
Well, I've gone down that
Because
rabbit hole.
I like
Dave.
electrocuting things.
Have you ever watched like
last night?
Have you ever watched like car crashes on YouTube or whatever? It's like
Oh
you can go,
yeah, car crash.
yeah, you can go down a rabbit hole of like
Oh yeah, I'm more afraid of like getting hit by a car over here when I'm walking on the street because everyone's like freestyle driving. There's very little traffic
Yeah,
rules.
the best car crash I think I've ever seen is the Arabic drift racing. You can find these compilations on YouTube of these crazy like Arabic dudes just like going down straightaways, and then they start fishtailing their car to drift from side to side. A lot of them crash, but there is this one where the guy drifts hard into the embankment, and then the car just starts flipping over and over again.
Holy
And you can
shit.
see dudes like flying out of the vehicle.
Oh my god.
You can see like the guy get his arm like flies out. It's crazy. Like the guy gets
Holy shit.
dismembered. Yeah, I know it's still on YouTube. It's probably like under one of my video like playlists that I watch every once in a while.
Yeah, it's insane there. Like I had a cousin that lived in Egypt, and he said that like the highways there, when somebody died, they literally just had like guys pull over, rip the body, put it off to the side of the road, and then keep driving. Like here in the West,
Holy shit.
in
Oh
North
my
America,
god. It's not
Yeah.
that bad over here.
no, but in North America, we would like close all the lanes. We would like block the cops would like block off the whole entire. You know what I mean? It's just like it's crazy how different cultures handle different things. But yeah, YouTube crazy.
Over
car
here,
crashing.
people would just gather, like hundreds of people would just form the crash
The site.
site and try to help, or I don't know. A lot of them would just video it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, human disaster. It's definitely interesting to watch.
Or
Yeah.
human close calls, man. If you just do close calls on YouTube, like how many people have gotten close to like train tracks where the train comes and they get their car rushed out of the way in time, or like they are walking and then like a brick just falls like slightly behind them, caught on security footage.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
That would
YouTube
be
could like
actually-
I
that'd
think
be
it's like if you
interesting to
just
watch too.
close calls on YouTube and it'll bring up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've watched some of those. Those are pretty nerve-wracking.
They're kind
I
of
guess I've
entertaining.
never, I never watched any stuff like that really. I mostly watch like podcast or like nerd videos about fantasy and science fiction books.
Yeah, I do the same. I watch I do and I don't watch podcasts. If a podcast is on, I feel like it's stupid for me to watch it because I feel like it's just audio and I could be doing something else. So I'll like fold my laundry or I'll clean my house or I'll do something like that. Like I won't like actually be paying attention unless it's like a movie or a TV show, and then I'll pay attention. But podcasts on YouTube, yeah, I don't like. I listen, but I don't actually watch them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I do the same thing if I'm doing something else. Like the only time I look at the screen continuously is if I'm sitting down and eating supper while watching a podcast or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I do a lot of like playing video games while listening to podcasts, or driving while listening to podcasts.
I do the same. Driving, cycling, video games, podcasting. Yeah. I do the same.
You don't play video games while cycling though, right?
No, not yet. I wonder if there's a way I could do that though. I'm sure I could. Because I got one of those stationary things I could put on my back tire that could lift it up and I could just like, turn it into like a Peloton or whatever. But
oh, okay.
playing video games at the same time, yeah, that might be too much hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. I
That'd be
wouldn't
a
want to
feat.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've just been watching way too many animal videos on YouTube lately.
Dude, I started watching this National Geographic series on Disney Plus called Animal Fight Club, and it's just animals fighting each other. It's so fucking cool. It's like, dude, watch this scientific analysis of these two giraffes fighting each other with their necks. How about this one with grizzly bears fighting each other?
Oh, me and my friends had like a long like stoner conversation about gorilla versus like a brown bear.
Oh, I saw Brian Callen answering a question on his podcast about that. He thinks that a gorilla would have no chance against a grizzly bear, even a silverback gorilla.
My friends over here are all are all on the gorilla side. Like the gorilla can just because of the gorilla can lift like can throw like 1,800 pounds.
Holy crap!
And it's bite force, and it's like
aren't grizzly bears still like way stronger though? Stronger than gorillas?
Yeah, but they don't have as much dexterity as a gorilla does. A
gorilla has like a more bite power than a bear as well.
I wonder who's more intelligent.
Which was surprising.
Really?
I wonder if
I
the
bet the
gorilla
is probably more intelligent.
Yeah, see, I would think the gorilla would have the intelligent overhand, whereas the bear would have the upper strength. So it would be kind of like wit versus strength, although the gorilla would be strong too. And I would think the gorilla might be a little bit quicker than the bear, right?
Well, bears can run fucking fast.
Bears run fast.
Yeah, they can run fast, but like
40 kilometers an hour or something like that.
In the jungle, gorilla would win for sure. Like if it's in like the dense Congo jungle.
Yeah, that'd be an
But
interesting fight to see. I
Yeah.
Well,
bet
yeah,
you
because
that
it's a
rich
natural
assholes,
environment, right?
I bet some rich
yeah,
Yeah.
assholes, or at least Roman gladiators, have already seen this happen.
Yeah,
Like,
it's an age-old debate, gorilla versus bear. There's like
there has to have been like some rich, crazy dude that's procured like a grizzly and a gorilla and made them fight. It
Yeah, I bet.
has to have happened.
I
yeah,
bet.
for sure.
This is
Because I
making me.
know in the
This is making
Roman
me.
times, they'd make like a bunch of animals fight all the time.
Yeah, in the gladiator arenas, right?
Yeah, and then they'd toss people in there for good measure.
Yeah. This making me think of that Godzilla versus Kong movie that I haven't seen, but I definitely want to.
Or you could watch Rampage, which is kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
Rampage was crazy.
Is that
Yeah.
movie actually based on the video games?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, the video games don't really have a story, so it's loosely
No, it's
based off of
giant
the video
monsters
game.
fighting each other.
Yeah, it's basically a giant lizard, giant wolf, and a giant ape that bash buildings. But yeah, Rampage. It has The Rock, and he is friends with this giant gorilla. Yeah, I have seen it.
Was it good?
It was entertaining. I liked it. Most of The
Have you
Rock's
seen?
movies are entertaining.
That's true. I didn't. Did you guys see that Godzilla movie? I watched the fucking best Godzilla movie ever recently. I didn't realize I hadn't seen it. It was one that came out in like 2018 or so, I think, called Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was fucking awesome.
yeah.
It was Godzilla versus a giant alien three-headed fire-breathing dragon. That was basically
yeah.
the main contest in the movie.
I've heard of this movie, and I think I watched some YouTube reviews of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I like it just for that
Yes.
pure awesome monsters fighting each other aspect. That's basically
Yeah,
all
one
there
of
is
these
to it. Monsters
one of
fighting.
these days, I'm going to have to go through like every single Godzilla movie.
I saw
And
one
then-
recently
used
where
to,
Godzilla fights Mecha Godzilla.
Oh
Isn't
yeah,
the
I
last
saw
one
one. I saw
Godzilla
one,
versus King Kong?
yeah, I think that's the newest one. I think I've seen a few where Godzilla fights Mecha Godzilla. At least a few, I think.
Yeah, because
I
I think
used
they
to
were
get-
building up Kong with the Skull Island movie, and they're
Mhm.
going to do like a crossover. But I know the newest movie is supposed to cross those two movies over. So I don't know if the characters from Skull Island are going to be there. But isn't Skull Island, is that, because I never watched it, is that
I saw it.
contemporary or is it like a period piece?
No, it's contemporary.
Okay, so I don't know if they're going to have characters from Skull Island appear in this Kong versus Godzilla movie, but I do know that there's supposed to be the Kong from Skull Island is the one that's supposed to fight Godzilla.
Isn't that
Okay.
the movie where Kong lives like under the Earth's crust or like near the core or something?
I think
And there's like an entire world down there with like almost open skies. I don't know how that happened under the crust.
I think if I remember correctly in that movie that I'm not I might be confusing this with a different movie, but I think he lives in like an island in the Bermuda Triangle or something. They use that thing about how the Bermuda Triangle is such a mystery that King Kong is living here.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
familiar. I think I know what you're talking about. But that was like the first.
That was
like,
the one with Jack Black in, right?
Yeah, like
No,
the
that
first,
was
not the first King
that was
Kong that was in
King
like the
Kong.
1930s or whatever.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was like the first
Oh,
like
yeah, the Jack
The one
Black
with
one,
the-
or are you talking about Skull Island?
I think Shizan was talking about the Jack Black one. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one
the
was
Jack
directed
Black
by.
one is just King Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is King Kong. That one was directed by Peter Jackson,
That's
who
like in
directed the
an
Lord of the Rings
island, right?
movies. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
The one where he's in the core or the under the crust of Earth or something is, I think, Godzilla versus King Kong.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that one.
haven't seen that one yet, so that could be the case.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, apparently the studios are trying to make a monsterverse like similar to the Avengers universe and DC universes, basically, which I think is a pretty awesome idea.
Yeah, these continuation type of universes are always fun.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah, that
That's why I
when they
was-
do
That
it
doesn't sound like
poorly.
a money grab at all.
No, not at all,
Yeah.
man.
It doesn't seem like the DC universe has done it very well.
Yeah, that seems to be a widely held opinion. I mostly agree with it. I haven't seen.
I think they overdid it. That's why.
Well, I think it's because the movies are too serious.
Some of them are fucking.
Well, and all the Marvel
cheesy,
movies
too.
are very jokey. Like the Marvel movies, like they're always jokey. It's
Yeah.
like the characters are always joking and whatever. Like I think the last movie I watched was the Batman versus Superman, whatever. And man, was
like
that
that.
movie like serious and dour?
I liked that one actually. That's like one of the only ones that I liked.
Oh, that movie was pretty good.
It was all right.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
good fighting
like
scenes.
comparing it to like the Marvel universe, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the DC universe seems to take itself a little
Too
too
serious?
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently with that original Justice League movie too, Zack Snyder directed like half of it, and then his daughter killed herself, so he had to leave the project. So
Holy
they brought
crap. I didn't know that.
brought in Joss Whedon, who directed the first Avengers movie. So it's like half Zack Snyder and half Joss Whedon, which is why why
Is that why they released that newly edition, the Zack Snyder edition?
That's why I wanted to at some point talk with you guys about the Snyder cut of that movie, because it's apparently way better, but it's also like 4 hours long.
Gotcha.
Holy
I didn't
crap.
know that.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
his daughter-
it was worth watching, but I had a lot of time in hand.
Because I only watched the original, like Justice League cut.
The
and
original I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, that one was
yeah, I
good.
was like, I kind of didn't like the main character, the main villain. It's like, man, this is kind of weak sauce.
Yeah.
Steppenwolf, I was like, okay.
Apparently in the Snyder cut there's revealed to be a much better major villain, kind of similar to Thanos in the Avengers universe.
Probably Darkseid. Darkseid is like the Thanos of the DC world.
Okay. You know, that name sounds familiar actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like equivalent characters in Marvel. Like there's
The
like
DC
a
animated world is like way better than the DC cinematic world.
Yeah,
I've
I
heard that.
agree. Like Batman animated series, like all of the different like Batman movies that are animated. The Superman show was pretty good. The Teen
there's
Titans,
a
I
few
heard, was
Justice
pretty
League
good.
movies that are pretty good.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
I think a lot of them were on Netflix. I don't know if they're on there anymore.
The one that I heard was really good was that Batman one with the Joker called The Killing Joke.
Oh yeah, that one was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Ninja Batman.
there's Batman of the Future. There's one It's like a futuristic Batman, like a new Batman takes Bruce Wayne's role, like a
Are you
younger
talking
Bruce Wayne.
about Batman Beyond?
Yeah, Batman Beyond.
Oh, I
It
saw
was
some of
called Batman of the
some of
Future over
that
here.
show when I was a kid. I remember watching some of Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Terry
I thought that one
McGinnis
was
is
good.
Yeah.
the new Batman. There were a couple of different movies. I remember one of the major ones was Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, I was just thinking about that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember liking that one when I saw it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Batman
their
Under
animated
the
stuff
Red
was
Hood
pretty
or
good.
something.
Oh, I've heard of that
Yeah.
one. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah, but the DC movies, some of the shows are okay too. Like the first season of The Flash I watched, I thought that was decent.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, the first season was decent. It was kind of cheesy, but it was good.
The first season of Gotham was okay.
Yeah, I think I watched Gotham and I like bailed by the end of the first season because to me it got progressively cheesier.
Yeah, it's like the second season, the weird crap with the penguin. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I didn't watch Gotham.
DC's okay. It's just not as fun as the Marvel stuff. Just the Marvel stuff is
Yeah.
just fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of want the X-Men and the Marvel Cinematic Universe to merge.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think that's
after
probably gonna happen because Disney owns Fox now.
yeah, they own Fox now. But I don't know because the weird thing about Spider-Man and how that license works, because I know
Yeah,
Sony has a Spider-Man license, but now that Fox is under Disney, who knows what could happen with the X-Men?
Yeah. I thought they did like that Disney bought the rights to Spider-Man now too, or something like that.
Did they? Because I know Sony had it for the longest. And I know when Sony had the rights for Spider-Man, this is going to sound weird, but Disney paid Sony to use the character that they already own. So, because they had the license.
Maybe they did that with they did that with the
They
last
did that.
few Spider-Man movies.
They did that with Civil War, and the Spider-Man movie with the Vulture, where Iron Man comes out.
Far From Home.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
that's the
because
name of it.
that one, the newest guy who plays Spider-Man, Tom Hiddleston, that was like an MCU.
Tom
Spider-Man
Hiddleston's
movie too.
Loki.
Not Tom Hiddleston. Tom, the other Tom guy, whoever that guy who plays the newest Spider-Man.
I'm so behind on the Marvel stuff, though. I have not watched any of the WandaVision. I haven't watched Loki.
Yeah, me too.
It seems like
I caught up on all those.
Oh yeah, I haven't
I'm trying to watch it with
started them either.
I'm trying to watch it with my
good.
kids.
I just haven't started them.
No, sorry.
With your kids?
There are too many good shows, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to watch some of them with like the movies, especially with my kids. So I gotta wait for them to catch up on some of them, right?
The Loki show was really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I gotta watch them. I have Disney Plus. Why haven't I been watching this stuff? It's like the only time I use Disney Plus is for family movie night. That's what we use it for.
I was watching. Oh, okay.
You cut up?
Oh, okay.
Is it getting delayed again?
Oh, I forgot what I was just thinking about.
You were saying something about flat Earth and how you think that Earth is
Hmm.
not round.
Oh, am I glitching out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were glitching out again. Yeah, your video's a bit choppy.
Yeah.
You're laughing at the
Oh, it's
flat
actually
Earth.
not round. It's a colloid sphere. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30-second
Yeah.
delay.
Oh, is it?
You're delayed again. Yeah.
Okay.
Say hoo-ha!
Was it like glitchy laughing?
Yeah, it is. You're like in Memento status right now.
Maybe hoo-ha.
Damn,
Oh,
dude.
that's
Wow,
a
you're-
long
You're
delay.
delayed.
Wow.
That's a long delay.
You're delayed probably like around 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, North America needs to upgrade its fiber, dude. The internet's, I think, a lot cheaper and faster
Oh, wow.
in
Okay.
Asia.
Well, maybe we should end it here then, in case it boots me again, so it doesn't fuck with us and shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's try
Yeah.
hoo-ha again. Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha.
Oh, you're not
Oh,
delayed
that's
anymore.
fine
Oh, I'm
now.
not? Okay.
No. You caught up.
Okay.
1 second, I'm muting myself for a second.
No
Okay.
problem.
Is the government knocking on his door?
Yeah, that sounded like the cops, eh?
Yeah,
We hear you've been talking about 5G
very discreet knocking.
and COVID vaccines.
All right. Yeah, they should ship all the vaccines that are safe for the unvaccinated people who don't want to get vaccinated over.
Yeah, there are a bunch of vaccines that were wasted, I think, in the U.S. As people weren't taking them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there are like anti-vaxxers, not anti-vaxxers, but people skeptical of the COVID vaccine over here as well. As I've heard a few stories.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of. I heard that there's a lot of reports of like some of the ones that didn't get vaccinated, like they're in the hospital and they're like dying and asking for the vaccine. Like, yeah, you're kind of too late there.
Yeah.
There was the anti-vax nurse that died of COVID.
Yeah, I've seen a few videos about that, about anti-vaxxer people getting COVID.
I saw a post about this Italian restaurant that has like no vaccinated people allowed written on front of it.
Oh, okay.
I saw this video of this pastor that demanded that anyone. So this is so stupid, man. Like, I don't understand this new. I don't even know how recent it is, but this pastor is like, I don't want this liberal nonsense in my church, and I don't. If anyone here has taken the vaccine, I want to leave now. Like, wow, that's freaking insane.
Wow.
So why does the pastor care about politics that much? I don't know, but wow.
Yeah. Oh. Did my internet just cut out there?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I wonder if
Oh. Did Chizan just get kicked out?
oh, the internet police got him. Thank Paul.
Yeah. Oh man, the other day I was walking by a church and there was this thing that looked like a tombstone, and it said, in remembrance of the victims of abortion, violence, and abuse. I thought, okay, I understand that there are like so-called pro-life people, but I mean, even if like can like babies that were never born be victims? I don't understand how they can be victims unless they were out of their mother's body first.
No clue. Yeah. You know, it's some
I
people.
accidentally pressed the wrong button.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
We thought you got kidnapped by the government.
Oh yeah, that can happen. We have a supreme leader over here.
You have a supreme leader?
Yep.
So, what do you mean we have a supreme leader?
All hail the supreme lady. She's blessing our souls.
Oh, it's a woman. You have a woman leader there?
Everything we have is for her.
All right. Well,
To be continued next month.
Okay. What country are you in right now?
Bangladesh. I mean,
Okay.
it's a democracy. Wink, wink.
Oh, that's funny.
that's funny.
So,
Yeah.
did the supreme leader get elected then?
Yeah, she's always winning. Everyone loves her so much. She always wins.
Oh,
There's no contest. Even if you want to, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's all I could say for now.
She's the only
That's a
one on the
big
ballot.
Yeah, kind of, sort of like that. Yeah, there's other options. There's other parties. There's competition, fair competition. Wink, wink.
kind of like how, you know, a third party can totally win in the US.
Oh yeah, exactly like that.
The Green
Totally
Party.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a bunch of green parties.
You know, Gary
Would only
Johnson made incredible progress in 2016 by getting 1% of the vote.
Yeah.
The only way a third party would be viable is if they do ranked choice voting. If they don't, then it's just not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Waste your vote. Why do you waste your vote? It's like, it's not really a waste. Because if they say, why do you waste your vote? Then technically, if the Democrat wins and you voted for the Republican, whoever voted for the Republican wasted their vote.
Yeah, I think Chris and I were maybe talking about this the last time we talked. I don't get this argument of voting strategically. I just want to vote for who I think is the best candidate.
Yeah, we did talk about this. I think at the crux of our conversation was something like, well, for mine, it was like federally voting for a president or prime minister like we do here in Canada is not really on the top. Like I will do it. It's not on the top of my priority list, but I like to more concentrate on what's going on locally.
Yeah.
In my own jurisdiction and my own like mayor candidate voting, that kind of stuff. You know, I think that's more important than all those kind of situations and can affect you more than on a federal level. Like those, it's just, at least here in Canada, I mean, it doesn't really, I don't know. I know.
Well, I think that it's the issue that it's because the media is going to concentrate its attention on, you know, the biggest stories. And unless you're watching like local news or something, you're just going to get bombarded by national elections. And they're just going to kind of throw all their attention at the national election versus, you know, like what type of local issues are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I don't watch cable news. It's just bullshit.
Yeah,
I just don't understand.
I only watch YouTubers' criticisms of cable news.
Yeah, I don't watch cable news at all. But I watch local news, and that's like people going out on local streets and looking up stories and doing stuff that's, you know, immediately relevant to the stuff that's happening around me. That's why, like, not too long ago, I was talking so much about CRT in the mixed martial arts like room. It's because it was a local issue here.
Like critical race theory, CRT? Is that what you mean?
Yes, critical
Okay.
race theory was a local issue here. And it became a national story, but there was a school board that went nutso over CRT. So because of that, I wanted to investigate it a bit more to see what this big boogeyman was all about. And of course, it was just a big boogeyman, you know, misinfo fueled by the right to get people angry over culture war stuff, like, you know, like usual.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're gonna teach our kids to hate America. It's like, I think every country should teach its true history to its people. Like,
I
I'm
think I
not
heard
sure.
some guy say it's anti-Christian or something.
CRT?
Yeah,
I don't know how it's anti-Christian.
I think Charlie Kirk said that, like in some kind of
well, of course he said that.
yeah,
Probably thinks it's
Yeah,
like
it's
communist or something too.
yeah.
well, the only thing I know is it's about racism and shit like that. It's none of it. Well, what I've read, it doesn't say, "Oh, you got to hate white people. Oh, you got to make white people feel guilty about their shit." It's like, it's up to white people themselves whether they want to feel guilty about something. Nobody's forcing anybody to feel guilty about anything. It's basically, you know, exploring the history of the country. Like, I know in Canada, you guys have been going through the state schools, right?
Yeah,
That were
residential
boarding.
schools.
Residential schools, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like pointing out those types of things and coming to terms with stuff like that.
That's that's
Uh,
actually my friend Sergio just commented on something related to that. He said they are burning churches left and right.
Yeah, it's causing some pretty big problems with you
Like
guys, right? The
yeah,
residential school controversy.
like some woke people have been burning down Catholic churches where no one who is there right now had anything to do with residential schools, but those specific churches did. So let's burn the churches to the ground because
Yeah, that's pretty jacked up.
yeah, it's pretty fucked up. I mean, like, did they ever
Okay,
hear
so
that
are the
two
people
wrongs
that are
don't make
burning
a
these
right?
schools, are they actually like native, like First Nations people, or they're just kind of mad white people that
Mostly
are
mad
kind of?
white people. Then the First Nations people have came out and condemned all these church burnings. It's mostly in a reaction to the treatment of indigenous people through residential schools because there's been a bunch of there was one in Kamloops that had 200 and something kids found. There was another one in Winnipeg that had, I have to say allegedly because this is still under a lot of investigation and that kind of stuff. But there's been a bunch of residential schools across Canada, and it's no big secret that the treatment of Indigenous people and Canadian throughout like history hasn't never been good. Like Gord Downey talked a lot about this before he died. But yeah, it's just yeah, I think it's I don't know. There's probably a kernel of truth underlying where like the media is somewhere at fault and it's you know more politically driven. I don't know if there's that many churches that have been burnt down. I don't know if you know what I mean. Yeah, to me it comes across as just a reaction to you know.
Yeah, well, I think people are exaggerating on both sides as they always do. Like they're like people are getting carried away with their talk about the like obviously the example of burning down fucking churches is getting carried away about obviously terrible injustices that happen to Indigenous people throughout Canadian history, and then obviously like there's there's overkill on the other side too, and then like they're going all the way up to people who are actually like racist against Indigenous people, but these are like obviously extremes. Most people are not that extreme on either side.
Okay. Yeah, so from what I understand, like if you were to apply CRT to the situation that's going on with you guys, with the boarding schools, it basically would be to not mask that history and to examine it. That's basically what it would be.
That's already
100%.
being done for sure. Like
Yeah.
I learned about that when I was in university 2 years ago from my social justice indoctrination class, aka sociology class.
Yeah, so I guess what I mean though is
But that's obviously like that is true. That is true. Terrible history in Canada.
There's
Yeah.
two, like, I think both you
Right.
guys are right. I think Dusty is right by saying it brings to light that history that is not really talked about, especially here in Canada. I mean, Indigenous treatment of Indigenous people and was never. I mean, you do a chapter or two of on in high school, but it's never really,
Mhm.
gone through with a fine
And-
tooth comb. And now this is all coming to light, which I like. I bought a Every Child Matters shirt like 2 years ago when we found this out, when Quebec, there was a bunch of students, same kind of thing that happened in Quebec first. But it's at the same time, I get it. It's good to kind of understand the history there. It's just trying to find that gray area, because I know people that were like, this happened right around Canada Day here in Canada, and there was
Yeah.
a bunch of people that were like, let's not celebrate Canada Day at all, and let's not,
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Stupid.
like,
That's stupid too.
I think
Yeah.
both things can be true. I think you can both celebrate Canada and and not only be aware, but educate yourself more on the atrocities that the Indigenous
Yeah.
people went through. Yeah. In
I
history.
have
Yeah.
my
Yeah, I
family
think
has my
like
family has
Asia
direct-
needs some of CRT as well.
what?
Asia?
Like, yeah, Asia needs CRT because a lot of countries over here, they like abuse indigenous people. Like, there are a lot of indigenous people in my country, like Arakeens, and across the border in Myanmar, there's like Rohingya and stuff like that. They're all
Oh yeah,
being,
the
like,
Rohingya. Yeah.
yeah, all the
That's
Rohingyas
definitely
ended
one.
up in my country. So, but the Arakan, they go to their country. They get abused by our military.
Sorry, what's
no.
the Rohingya? I don't know that at all.
They were
So
mass. They
Myanmar
were
had
kind
an
of
ethnic
genocide, man.
cleansing.
So
There was a genocide going on in Myanmar.
currently,
Is it
There
still
was a
going
couple of
on, or
years
did they
ago.
all? Yeah, it
It's been
happened a
softly
couple
going
years
on
ago.
for a long time, like 50 years, softly, and then it became really intense and like total ethnic cleansing, like a couple of
Like
years
killing
ago.
villages with kids and shit, stuff like that. Like really bad
Yep,
shit.
throwing babies to fire in front of their moms and stuff like that.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. My family has direct experience with that indigenous stuff because I have two adopted indigenous uncles on my mom's side of the family, and that happened during the period of time where there was the AIM program. It's an acronym. I forget what the initials stand for, but it was like this thing that
AOL
it didn't-
Instant Messenger.
yeah, exactly. They didn't know until later on that my mom's parents, what they were participating in, which was taking native people out of their homes and away from their families on reserves, and then bringing them into like middle class white people families, which is like not anywhere near as bad as what residential schools were, but you're taking these people out of their culture and inserting them in a different culture. And there were certainly a hell of a lot of resulting problems from that. And then like if the, like in residential schools it got like fucking horrifying, like, you know, like indigenous children were whipped for speaking their language even though they didn't understand that they were being told to not speak their language, and you know, there was rape and murder and that kind of shit that always happens with these sorts of things.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, one of the things I was trying to explain with CRT too is, well, I know in the American context, a lot of it is about examining the legal system and how that particular system can be racist.
Yeah, I remember
think,
you were telling me about that when we were talking about this before.
Yeah, so it takes a look at legal systems and pairing that with history and just doing an examination. It's about looking at data, not telling you what to do with the data. So CRT doesn't say, you must do this. It says, look at this. So I think like the problem that we have is that schools in general, and this is American schools as well, they will glorify things and indoctrinate people to the history of our nation. I guess slavery is one of those things that can't be ignored, therefore it gets covered. But you know, and you do learn about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
But past that, you don't learn anything else more about civil rights. It's like the buck stops at Martin Luther King, and it doesn't progress any further than that. It's like, oh, Martin Luther King came and all of our problems were solved. Obviously, you know, that's not really the case. That's basically what you're taught in elementary school in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, they really need to start teaching like Thaddeus Russell's what's that book?
Renegade History of the United States. Yeah. About the history of all the awesome things that Black culture has brought us, like music and dancing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's basically trying to say, because we're trying to not indoctrinate our kids. You know, we can't tell them that nothing that America does is like America's infallible country that does all this good shit.
Right.
No, there's a lot of flaws, and we should look at that. Like,
yeah, of course.
I guess the model country for this would be something like Germany, who felt extreme shame for what happened with World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They kind of went on the deep end of that, making like things illegal.
What happened in World War II?
Speech.
Oh yeah, that's
what's
gonna happen.
Are you talking Dusty, about how Holocaust denial is outlawed in Germany?
Yeah. So what I mean is, like, I think you should teach your country's flaws.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what I think CRT is about, is recognizing the flaws and how to make things better. Like, you can't make things better without pointing out the flaws. It's just can't say, oh, Martin Luther King, he solved everything and we're all good now. That's not.
I mean, teaching these histories are not like indoctrinations, are they? Like, it's just pointing out real history.
It depends. It depends on what you're talking about. Like if you can go, like, what it seems like you've been learning lately, Dusty, is that, like, if you actually look at what the critical race theorist wrote, it's just like talking about legal theory and trying to make like arguments based on the systemic oppression of people of racial minorities, but there isn't like this Robin DiAngelo white fragility type shit, like black people can't be racist or shit like that. Like, that's the sort of shit that I was taught in my sociology class in university. Like, black people can't be racist and shit like that.
Yeah, any tool can be brought too far, and I do think, like, people kind of in the woke school of thought takes some of the CRT stuff too far.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I was reading the stuff. I saw no definitions of racism that said power plus prejudice. I did not see that at all.
Yeah.
I didn't read anything that says, oh, white people are all, well, there was one thing I did agree with that white people don't agree with. And basically, they say that everybody's racist. And I believe that everyone is racist
Yeah,
to
that's
some
true.
extent.
You and I were
True.
talking about this though. Like I have this conversation with my mom sometimes because she says that, and I think, well, like it depends on how you define racism. Like to me, racism, like I have a narrower definition of racism. I think that it requires malice on someone based on their skin color. Like if you're
CRT
talking.
doesn't though. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I know.
require it. The only thing that they require.
I don't really agree with that definition of racism because it's like the defund the police slogan or abolish the police or something. You know, that's a better example. It's making people think that you have the most extreme example of this, even if you don't. It's just bad.
Yeah, that's why there's so much pushback on the way that CRT handles race, because those who view CRT believe that when CRT is talking about race, they're talking about morality, and that's not it. That's not what they're talking about.
Well,
moral.
It seems like the biggest critics of CRT, even like right wingers in particular, they assume that when people say racist, they mean like the worst version of racism, like white supremacists or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's well, weird. Here's the thing that's problematic about CRT is that they take these terms that have extremely heavy moral connotations and they toss them out without those connotations attached. So when you say that blah 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 white supremacy blah blah blah, people are going to get really upset. Because when you talk about white supremacy, people just think you're talking about Nazis and stuff like that. But they're kind of talking like a more clinical version of it. Same thing with racism. The way they talk about it, it's more of a clinical version of racism that has really nothing to do about moral superiority. It's just about, something simple, like the crack discrepancy between crack cocaine and regular cocaine. I don't believe that there was malice in some of these justice systems or even in the judges. It's just that it's there, so it's.
Well, it's like what Michelle Alexander, I think her name is, said in The New Jim Crow. It's that in the U.S. in particular, Black people in particular are tremendously disproportionately negatively affected by the drug war. So the outcomes look that way.
Right. And there's a lot of factors, because it could be race. It could also be just an absence of political power. It's a lot of different factors. And it's not all race. There's so many different factors that contribute to all of that.
People disagree about this all across the political spectrum, right? Like more right-leaning or libertarian people tend to often believe that it's more due to culture, like a culture problem. Like someone like Glenn Lowry has more of that opinion. Like it's more due to culture than anything else, and Black people need to change their mindset and that kind of thing. And then there's the more of like the super lefty or Marxist types take more of a class analysis and think it's more class than anything else. And then like the super woke lefties think it's more race than anything else. And I mean, I think the most important thing to focus on is that it's all of them in varying degrees depending on the situation.
Yeah, that's definitely it, dude. That's it. And that's not nobody.
Yeah, I don't think it could be ignored that. Yeah, you can't ignore this stuff. Like, I think that's CRT basically wants people to not ignore. Like, just think of something as simple as Ferguson. Like, it was so obvious that there was a racial element to how things played out there. Like, the federal government went in, they investigated, and they found racial undertones of how they were dishing out the law. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is that I don't know what it is about conservatives or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's like they're very afraid of talking about race, and they just want to ignore it.
Yeah, I feel really uncomfortable.
I don't think it's afraid.
I find it strange.
I think it's they're annoyed by
Like-
talking about race. Do you know what I mean? I think it's like
Yeah.
here we are talking about this again, because if you're like somebody that, I mean, we're not perfect, but like, I think like I think race relations have come a long way since the civil rights movement. If you look at marriage rates, for example, and you can go all down those conservative talking points, but I just think that people are tired. Like I'm not a conservative person, but I'm not gonna lie. I find the race topic kind of exhausting and not really interesting. Just because, well, I don't know. I'm not a racist, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just. I feel like also like media and social media has kind of brought up this race conversation so much over the last like 5 to 6 years. Yeah, I don't know.
I get
Yeah,
what you
if,
mean. but, like,
if it's
to
negatively
me,
affecting you, you're gonna keep complaining, right?
to me, like it annoys me when anyone focuses on any one factor way too much, and to the point of like seeming to ignore the other factors, which people do about.
Yeah, class
people do
is
about
not talked about too much in American media, like class discrimination.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was there
Yeah, I would
in
definitely
the
agree with
recent
that.
election a bit, but yeah, the class differences are not talked about as much as race. Like everything's looked from a racial angle. They want to fit
There's a
everything
lot.
through that angle, but
yeah,
but I don't
there's a
even
lot of
think
different
CRT is
factors.
propaganda either. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the most.
one of the biggest problems I have is I'm not saying that race is something that should solely be looked at as a cause of all the ills in the world. I don't believe that. I believe it's multifactorial. There's a bunch of different little things that contribute, class, race, lots of little things contribute. When I look at basically all of the conservative people that kind of debate these topics, they try to think of any other reason it might be besides race, and they don't consider that race is a factor. That's kind of what
I think that depends on who you're
makes me
talking
upset.
about, though. Because
Yeah, for sure.
I think Rogan caught
who I would say are like good right wingers or right leaning people like Glenn Lowry
Or
he wouldn't,
Thomas
like, say
Sowell.
that-
Thomas
or
Well,
Thomas
yeah,
Sowell.
Glenn
Neither of
Lowry
them-
recognizes it.
Yeah, neither of them would say that like ignore the factor of race. Like they both make those clarifications all the time, especially Lowry.
Yeah, I'm talking about more like, the debate circuit people. So we're talking about like Ben Shapiro, even though like recently Rogan got Shapiro to recognize race as a factor.
Yeah.
been a
Like
little
for example,
discussion
Sam
there.
Harris
Yeah.
wants to boil everything down to religion. Like he tries to,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was trying
It's
to boil
similar.
everything down,
Well,
like
Sam
everything
Harris
through
is
like a religious
guilty.
lens.
Yeah, Sam Harris is also guilty of ignoring racial factors, which is weird considering how smart of a person he is.
Well, and he ignores like cultural and historical and political factors a lot too. It's like religion.
Yeah, he just thinks it's all religion.
It's all religion.
No,
yeah.
he's like one of those guys that just looks at statistics and that's it. I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite debates was Sam Harris versus Dan Carlin. And Dan Carlin basically told him throughout the debate was like, Sam, you don't understand the history of these places and what's going on. Specifically, when they're talking about like conflicts between Muslim countries and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and
Well, and he
Dan
thinks like
Carlin,
the terrorist version of Islam is the only version of Islam, or something like that.
Like the Myanmar
yeah,
genocide was like radical Buddhist, so it's like a big surprise because
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, that's like totally out of the left. Like no one expected that. Like everyone's assumption in the West is like, you know,
and
but
religion is not
Yeah.
required. Like religion is not required to have atrocity. It's
No.
not like
it's the
you
people
just
that
take a
make
look
it
at the
that.
Soviet Union. There was no religious ideology there, and you had even before they became the Soviet Union, they had pogroms against Jews, and
Yeah.
um, it does not. Religion is not a requirement to have crazy thoughts or to commit atrocity.
Yeah.
It seems that I don't know, just like the
Yeah,
super
neither is
atheist
race.
people.
Like, but both of them play like a role in some way.
Yeah, like any type of ideology is a tool and like can be used in any way, good or bad, depending on the person, right? And like
Right.
most people don't execute their ideologies in this fucked up and murderous way.
Yeah, and some of the most murderous ideologies that have occurred had nothing to do with religion.
Yeah,
They're just state ideologies. Like Nazism had nothing to do with religion. Stalinism, there's no religion there. Maoism, no religion there.
yep,
And these are all secular ideologies that are the most, um, like I guess what they talk about what the extremists, Muslims, and stuff like that, but they don't even hold a candle to the modernist like ideologies that that were around in the 40s and things like that. So these newer like radical Muslims aren't really holding a candle to what happened in the mid 1900s. Like this is nothing compared to how many millions were killed during that era.
mm-hmm. And
So,
there are conflicting roles that religion plays. Nazi
uh-oh.
regime too, for example. Like I don't remember where I heard this because I've read so many books and seen so many documentaries about World War II because it's like by far the most popular thing for people to make history content about. But it was something about how for like it was either until the start of World War II or until like halfway through it, the Catholic Church was supposedly like kind of in favor of what Hitler was doing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because I know,
And it's something about like how Nazis were not allowed to be Protestants; they had to be Catholic for a while. I think I could be
I have no
misremembering.
clue. I have no idea.
Oh,
I don't
I
even
didn't
know
know that.
how, because I thought Nazism was kind of like a secular ideology. Because I
Yeah,
know fascism
It's
definitely
like
was
based on
secular.
pseudoscience, right? A lot of pseudoscience and
yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah. Hitler based his ideology on this like this basically this totally debunked fake history book called The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which told a whole bunch of totally inaccurate and flawed history about Jews, basically.
yeah. So I was gonna say, like fascism, we're starting with Italian fascism,
Right.
and so Mussolini wrestled control away from the church in order to institute fascism, because the
Mm-hmm.
church still has a lot of institutional power. The Catholic Church in Italy, institutional power. He needed to wrest that away in order to control the populace through fascism. So he
Mm-hmm.
did reduce the power of the Catholic Church I think he made many restrictions. He restricted on their property holdings and everything else in
Yeah,
order to gain secular control of the people instead of
yeah. And he
them bowing to the
and
state.
he didn't do that because he hated religion. He did that because he wanted more power, right?
Right. He wanted dictatorial power, so he needed the state to be the foremost entity that people work towards, not the church. It had to be the state. Same thing with Nazism. It's all about the state, wresting power from non-state institutions and consolidating that power.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I never
A lot of
understood.
it is
Like
just
I
channeling
remember
people
being
suffering,
angry.
right? Some people have some like suffering in some way or have some frustrations, and then has to be
Well, that's how it
like they
starts,
scapegoat. Yeah.
Like all of this crazy, super authoritarian stuff has roots in personal suffering. Like
Uh-huh.
what Hitler was the Versailles Treaty, with Germany going down the drain and having to
Yeah,
owe everybody money, and
that's
they had
part.
to pay for bread with a wheelbarrow full of money.
But not just him, all of Germany. That's how he was able
Yeah,
to get so many people on board with the Third
yeah,
Reich, is
yeah,
that
exactly.
they wanted to, basically the world is holding them accountable for what happened with World War One, and they were in so much debt that
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
My friend Sergio mentioned that a few times in the comments here too, the Treaty of Versailles and that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't. Most of these
Hitler,
atrocities.
Hitler blamed his problems that he went through on Jewish people. I think this might even be in Mein Kampf. I don't remember, but that's a book worth reading either way, because it lets you see the mind of Hitler and his progression, even his progression into insanity, and he tells you about his childhood too. Like he was. I don't remember whether this is in that book or I saw it in a documentary or read it in another book, but I think he was beaten by his father, and his mother did nothing to stop it, and he was bullied by Jews when he was in school, and he ate his lunches alone and was an outcast and had no friends, and then he blamed Jews for being rejected to the art school in Vienna. Rather than saying that he wasn't a very good artist, because it happened to be Jewish people who were in charge of making that decision.
Yeah, the deepest I've read into Hitler was probably the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. I have not.
That is pretty detailed. That's a way longer and more detailed book than Mein Kampf.
Yeah, I haven't, because that book, Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, it references Mein Kampf all the time, especially when they're talking about Hitler specifically. I just haven't read Mein Kampf yet. But yeah, the book totally points out that, Hitler was racist from the get-go, and he was a weirdo when he was in the army. Like, I think, if you remember, what's always talked about during World War I is on Christmas, both sides basically had a ceasefire, and they came together and sang some songs temporarily.
I thought they played a game of football or something like that, didn't they, or soccer?
Right,
I think it was soccer.
Was it soccer?
Right, and then this, from Hitler's perspective, Hitler hated that, and he did not partake. Like, he was so...
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he was so hell-bent on this. I don't know. It's just, he was super pissed off that they did that. Like, he couldn't believe it. And that's the type of person Hitler was. Like, someone that would resent, who couldn't do that and see the humanity in the other side. Whereas the other soldiers said, yeah, these are humans, and we both can stop for Christmas at least. you know,
It's still
recognize.
weird. It's still weird that they like.
So he wasn't a nice guy.
Well, you know, when he was in this is early Hitler, you know, we're talking about pre-20s Hitler. Like from the get-go, you see that he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
And you got to think, if a guy's a loner, yeah, there might be something off about him.
Yeah.
He becomes a loner to an extremely charismatic, you know, crowd-pleasing dude, then you know there's something going on there.
You can watch Hitler's speeches on YouTube with subtitles. I've watched some of them. They're fascinating to watch because he gets so fucking animated, and the crowd is so into what he's saying, or at least they're pretending to be.
Yeah, I'm always freaking wary of politicians that hypnotize crowds like that. It just makes me freaking wary. Like, no matter who it is who's speaking, and it's like, yeah, you got to question some of this shit these people are saying, man.
Yeah, obviously.
It's like, fuck, man. It doesn't matter who it is, Republican, Democrat, hold these people accountable.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get into that QAnon shit, obviously. If the it's so funny too, because like Trump doesn't care about his supporters. He's just he only cares about himself. So he's like, it's convenient. I bet he loves the fact that there's this cult built around him, and he's just like egging on their claims that even he doesn't believe are true, because he loves it for his ego, I think.
Yeah, that's why he's so reluctant to like denounce like the crazier aspects of his followers, because he just loves that. Even though these people are wacky, like he plays that shit up. Like there's hours and hours of footage of Trump at rallies, like saying, "Oh, that Q guy is great," blah 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 blah, and then we find out that the Q guy is just some. Did you guys look into who QAnon was?
I think we might have done that on one of the podcasts, actually, didn't we?
Did they locate the
Yeah, it's like a
guy?
weird Asian dude and his dad. Like,
oh, it was? Oh, okay. I thought.
Yeah, it's like
the
guy that owned or was running 8chan was like the guy that was also posting as Q.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about how I think on one of our podcasts before, we were looking that up and saw that because you said that you thought it was connected to Pizzagate in 2015 originally, and it apparently was, right?
Yeah, it originated from the same website.
I thought it was like a subreddit or whatever, that it was just like a group that based on, because QAnon doesn't represent one kind of conspiracy theory. It represents a multiple conspiracy.
Yeah.
From what rabbit holes I've gone through, like from weather changing to election manipulation to, you know, DNA altering, you name it. QAnon kind of goes down, like 5G and all that kind of stuff with vaccines. That's QAnon kind of shit, right? So I always thought it was just like a subreddit that of a group of individuals that were kind of coming up with conspiracy theories.
No, QAnon was a person, but nobody knew the identity of QAnon.
Oh, okay.
But everybody believes that. Well, a lot of people believe that non-QAnon people. A lot of people believe that the person that was posing as QAnon were the owners of the website 8chan, which is like a man. It's like some Asian dude and his dad. That's who's rumored to be actual QAnon.
Oh, okay. That hasn't been confirmed?
Well, it hasn't been confirmed, but there's a lot of good clues that points to them as the ones, because they had always been in the conspiracies, and they're the ones running the website as well. So,
okay. My friend Sergio is saying in the chat here that they believe in like flat Earth and lizard people.
Well, the main conspiracy revolving around QAnon is that there are a bunch of Democratic pedophiles and
Oh yeah,
that are running,
kidnapping children and like sucking their blood, right?
yeah, stupid crap like that, and that Donald Trump was basically like the savior, and he was going to come in and eradicate these pedophile rings.
Yeah.
So it basically, that's what I mean, but it directly relates to Pizzagate, because Pizzagate is kind of where that QAnon stuff started, and that's where that ball started rolling, and then you get into the crazy fucking January 6th shit. Like, fuck, man.
Right.
It's nuts what some idiot on his own website and their dad can drum up people to do. It kind of reminds me of Locke and Demosthenes, but in a very like idiotic way.
Yeah, yeah. In the
Ender's series.
Yeah, the Ender's Game series. They're people who like teenagers who pretend to be internet personalities and then develop cults around them and take over the power of the world, basically.
Yeah, it's like a shitty Locke and Demosthenes setting up these conspiracy theories. And hey, I think it's a good analogy because they got real world action to happen, right? They got
That's
these
true.
400 people got arrested and they're sitting in jail in a DC federal jail. So
man, that shit that happens in the Ender's Game book could totally happen, I bet.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm just thinking about how Orson Scott Card kind of called it there.
Yeah.
Like he says, like the power of the internet influenced politics so much that these two anonymous online figures are the real ones that are running things behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying QAnon's running things behind the scenes, but we can see that they have real world power. They got things to happen and manifest in insane ways. And then you have people that, it was just a peaceful protest, trying to use, I guess, the left's stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
there were some peaceful protesters there, but there was also some violent protesters there. You can't say it was.
That's another such a political tribal thing. Like the like Antifa people were saying like, no, they're peaceful protests. There isn't any looting or violence or anything like that, man. And then the Trump supporters are saying the same thing about January 6th.
Yeah, I know there had to be some. It was probably like a mix of opportunists, a mix of idiots, a mix of like stupid Antifa people. Yeah, but there were had to be some. I'm guessing that most of the people were just like legitimate, regular, peaceful people, and then you're gonna have like your small group of people who are taking it to the next level. I think that's whenever that happens is all. I can't think of any time where the majority of the protesters are violent.
It happened from a Trump rally, right?
Yeah, but there were thousands and thousands of people there.
Yeah, there were like a lot of Trump people there, but a certain group was like the QAnon.
Well, the people that broke in, well, you had Proud Boys, QAnon people, and other crazy fucking wackos. But I think like the majority of people that weren't like straight up banging on the Capitol doors, there's probably more people that weren't doing that
went home that day.
Yeah, there were more people there were people that were there that didn't even know that there were
they
people
didn't even know what they were. They just like followed wasn't it the case that like the like most people just kind of followed the crowd in there, not knowing what was going on, and then like taking selfies and shit like that?
No, I think the people that were up in front knew what was going on. I'm saying that the crowd was so big. I'm saying that the crowd was so big that there were people there that didn't even know that there were people assaulting the Capitol.
Oh, okay.
That's how big the crowd is. So, yeah, some of the people didn't even know that people assaulted the Capitol until they went home or they checked Twitter.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying that the crowd was that huge. Saying that is the majority of the people that were actually there weren't assaulting the Capitol and didn't even know. I'm not saying the majority didn't know about it, but a lot of them didn't because that's how big the crowd was.
Yeah, all the crazy people can, thanks to the internet, connect so they can form.
Yeah, all the crazy people were definitely at the front of what was going on. Because, you know, there were like old ass people there, like old ass Trump supporters. You know, it's not like you're going to have like some 70-year-old lady bashing cops over the head with a flag. That's, you know, you're not going to see that. And we didn't see that. Like most of all the people that ran in there were younger, healthier, aggressive people. And we know that a lot of Trump people are like old boomers that just love that Trump. But I don't know, man. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts what the internet can do to people. Like imagine, I can't imagine
them to march to the Capitol. Trump was encouraging them to like, oh, we're gonna go to the Capitol.
He told them to march over there. He told them to. Basically. He's partially responsible. I'm not gonna say he's fully responsible. He has partial responsibility. How much of that responsibility it is up to debate, but there's no doubt that he has some responsibility to what happened. I don't buy that people that say, oh, he has zero responsibility. That's bullshit.
I mean, they went in with a lot of confidence. There were like pictures with the guy with his shoes on the desk, and like they felt
that guy is in jail.
They felt pretty in power.
Yeah, I don't understand these people, man. Like I don't get it. Like obviously there's a cult of personality thing going on with Trump that people just can't ignore the Constitution because they like Trump more than that. I really don't get it.
You know what's sad is the big thing that nobody took away from this event, and this is like what I kind of felt the first time it happened, is that you have a massive kind of like hole of like national security where you have a bunch of buffoons that were just able to walk into the Capitol and just kind of like not take it over, but yeah, just like, you know, roam the halls, take selfies, get arrested, all that kind of stuff. I was recently watching a bunch of like 9/11 documentaries because the 20th anniversary is coming up in September. So I did like Zeitgeist, Loose Change, and all that kind of stuff. And same kind of thing. Like you realize that like, okay, why didn't they assemble F-18s and how were they able to land in the Pentagon? And there's like so many holes in kind of like the self-defense and things that we think that we have covered. Like, you know, we have a awesome military and we have all eyes on the ground and satellites pointing everywhere. And then, you know, these little kind of things break open pockets, and it just kind of shows us that, you know, we're human and maybe that these things aren't exactly all the, you know what I mean?
I would say just give it some time, and then there's probably going to be a documentary about the
100%. There's going to be 4,000 documentaries that come out with it about the last 2 years alone with COVID, you know, George Floyd, with the vaccines, with, you know, all this kind of shit. There's going to be like, if you're a documentarian and you love documentaries, like, fuck, get your popcorn ready because it's going to be insane.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I wonder what this era is going to be called like 20 years from now. Like it's going to be interesting. and it'll be
Postmodern
like
era. We're in
60
the
years
postmodern
old.
era. We're living in the hyper real. Trump is a postmodern president.
I wonder, it's because like you think of who's
We're
in their
gonna talk about
60s
like
right now.
post-COVID, pre-COVID days, something
Post
like
COVID.
that. If,
For
if
sure,
this
yeah.
trend goes on,
Like post
well,
9/11.
life
You
used to
think?
be before COVID.
Yeah, it'll be like
Because
yeah, exactly.
before it was post 9/11 was like how life changed after that event, at least for Americans.
Yeah. Where you have to take
But-
off your shoes at an airport and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Shizan's right. It's going to be a post-COVID where you're going to have to like, I've had both my vaccines. I want to travel to, England this weekend or whatever the case may be. So yeah, there's going to be ultimately some changes whenever these kind of big life events happen. But yeah, I wonder how this will look back throughout history, Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It's an interesting times, and the internet's fucking insane.
And there's the whole lab leak and the like natural thing going on, like naturally developed virus or like a lab grown virus debate.
Yeah, I don't know why people are so invested in that. What I mean by that is like, why are they so upset about the possibility of it being leaked, and why do people deny it so hard that it's a possibility? I think one thing that we could point to is like Jon Stewart's appearance and how he was kind of getting railroaded when he was trying to do a comedy bit.
Yeah.
But
I just like let's leave all doors open and investigate this property. That's where my head's at. Like, let's not close any doors. Let's not close any theories. Like, even if aliens came down and implanted COVID, let's keep that option open. Even as crazy as it sounds,
Right. Yeah. Investigate all avenues. Like
if we stop the whole entire world for 2 years, I want to know what the fuck happened, right? And I think a majority of people do want to know what happened. I'm not looking to hold anybody accountable. I don't think the Chinese government should be held accountable, but I think we should find out what the hell happens, just for the only fact of so that this doesn't fucking happen again, and we have to shut down all of society. It should be like
we won't ever be able to hold them accountable because they have the world by the balls at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Like we can't. Like we're at this point where we have very little collateral or leverage over China.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think one of the most recent things that happened was what we found out that they were hacking, and we had like when Russia hacks us, we put on the sanctions. When China hacks us, we do jack shit.
Yeah, they're a superpower for sure. And they manufacture all the goods pretty much. So yeah, you're right. They do have you by the balls, but you just hope that it gets to a point that, for example, if let's say if this was all started by gain of function research, that hopefully that we just don't, do gain of function research anymore. You know what I mean? Or if we do, that we make sure that it's like maybe not in a communist country being done, and that it's done in like some kind of, I have no idea. Some island in the middle of nowhere that can't, spread the disease anymore. Or I don't know, just more thoroughly thought out, I guess. If we're gonna be doing...
put that shit in Antarctica.
Yeah, or like Iceland, or Greenland. What's going on there? Nothing. Let's get some labs.
Like, you're gonna have a lab next in the city that's filled with millions of people, and then they eat weird ass animals that they find.
Wuhan's like 14 million people or some shit, isn't it? It's like insane.
It's a lot of people.
Probably a lot.
And I was, what was funny? I was just doing some research, and this is how something I could tell that America is falling. Here's one thing. It's probably going to be a comedy bit somewhere by somebody that's probably made the same observation. The reason I think one of the easy things to see that America is like falling from being on top is that Americans are no longer the most hated tourists.
Who would be then?
The Chinese. That's what everyone's talking about as
Yeah,
being worse than American
a lot of
tourists.
South Asian and like Asian countries have like turned their attention more to China now. They're more
Yeah,
just like
like
people they out there.
yeah, it's not. Nobody hates. Like it used to be, American tourists will be the tourists that everybody hates. It's not that case anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the Chinese now. And I was like reading, I was like, okay, that means we're not on top anymore in America if we're not the most hated tourists. So I was trying to research why we're not the most hated tourists anymore. And apparently it's because I guess Chinese people just shit in trash cans and shit like that, like in the middle of the street. Like I was like, really? Is this really true? And I was looking around, and apparently, yeah, Chinese people just like drop their pants and shit in the trash can on the subway station,
Jesus.
and their kids, like their babies, wear crotchless pants, and they just have them like crap in the middle of the street or whatever.
I've heard about that happening in some
Yeah, it happens over here as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
sad
that
to
happens. That happens downtown here in Canada.
I haven't
You mean
seen
kids
that
wear
happen.
crotchless pants and
Not crotchless
shit?
pants, but like I've seen.
No,
like,
not crotchless pants, but
You've
they.
seen that you're in Toronto, or where are you in Ontario?
I'm in London, so it's like
London, right,
half
right.
a million people. But yeah, there's people that are high as a kite, topless.
Well, I'm
walking
talking
with piss all
about
over themselves.
Yeah, he's
I'm talking about
about
sober. I'm talking about sober, like straight
He's
up
talking about
sober.
like people holding babies to shit in the street, right? People holding their kids.
Yeah, they just hold their babies and they kind of just shit in the mall, shit in the grocery store.
in third world countries. The thing is, like people, they like advance in
China's not
technology
third
and like
world though. Like we're talking in major Chinese cities that they do this.
yeah, but they kind of rapidly like in this century they kind of became first worldish, right? Before that they were
Well,
like totally like agrarian, like more medieval, right?
their major cities in China are basically first world. Like, if you have tourists, Chinese tourists traveling all over the world, because you remember in the 80s, it used to be Japanese tourists that were traveling everywhere. And the
Yeah, there's a
stereotypical
lot of
tourist
Japanese
would
tourists
be,
over here.
yeah, the stereotypical tourist in the 80s was like a Japanese person with a big ass Fuji camera with a gigantic lens. That's what you thought of as a tourist. But now I guess it's like the Chinese are thought of as the stereotypical tourist.
Okay.
But instead of the big ass camera with the giant lens, it's the baby with no crotch in its pants.
Oh, okay.
And from what I hear, like by American standards, their behavior in general would be considered rude. I guess it's just not.
I went to like Guangzhou, China, and it was pretty clean. I think
Well,
it's the
yeah,
other
I'm not
cities,
saying it's
like
dirty.
the more remote cities.
No, what I say by shitting in the streets is that they're not literally. Well, some places they will shit in the streets, but even in nice areas, they'll put a piece of paper towel on the ground and have their baby shit on it, and then they'll throw away the paper towel. I'm not saying that they're leaving the shit. It really depends on what city, and whether they think they would catch some flack from leaving a pile of poop there. But I've seen pictures of this lady's like casually squatting and taking a dump on the subway and stuff like that in China.
Okay.
I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Like, and people didn't seem to care much. Like they weren't like, oh, pointing at her, and like their jaws were dropping, and like, what's going on? And I think the person who recorded it was not even Chinese. They were just like a tourist there that couldn't believe what was happening. that someone was just taking a dump on the subway, like nonchalantly.
Yeah, all this stuff with China, I really don't know what to believe in terms of it because it makes me suspicious because people are so politically tribal about it. Like more right-leaning people tend to be anti-China, and then like some left-wing people are anti-China, and some hardcore lefties are like pro-China that I've seen. And
Yeah.
some of the and then some people say that there's that there are like concentration camps going on there with the Uyghurs. And some people are denying that, and I don't fucking know, man. I've never been to China. I don't know who to believe.
Well, yeah, that's still kind of crazy. I tend to believe the Uyghur thing that's going on.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I've seen some
China.
I've seen some decent amount of footage from third party like European journalists and
China is
Indian journalists.
intolerant. Yeah, they're not tolerant to other ideologies. So if you have a religious ideology that's prominent, they're going to try to stamp it out.
Mm-hmm.
My
friend Sergio was mentioning that earlier with the Muslims and the I think the Uyghurs are Muslims, right? They're ones that have been like put in concentration camps, basically, or re-education camps or whatever.
Yeah, they're the ones in those quote unquote
re-education camps,
It's
and
not
their
as
women
bad.
are like being.
I was going to say
their women are being given to like Chinese soldiers so they can breed more Chinese babies, and not culturally Uyghur babies.
Wow,
that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's
we know about all that stuff with like the like China controlling some of the American media too, right? And like John Cena publicly apologizing to China, and then like NBA players apologizing to China and shit like that.
Blizzard, American video game company, apologizing to China.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, that was a while ago. It was like a Hong Kong player. It was like some game tournament, and the Hong Kong player.
Hearthstone player was like
talking about the independence movement, and then a Blizzard kicked him out of the competition because of that.
Yeah, he didn't get the prize pool. He won the tournament and didn't get the reward. It was banned.
So people were pissed. About it.
Yeah, money speaks, I guess. I mean,
I understand the business reasons of why they would do this, but Jesus, have some principles. Like, come on, have some goddamn principles.
True.
Like, do you need the money that bad? Does the NBA need Chinese money that bad? Like, yeah, the reason why we're gonna probably suck on the Chinese tit within the next 2 decades is because you guys are all money hungry, and you guys just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
About
Chris just messaged me and said his computer crashed, so we can end it without him there. I think we should end it now anyway, because we've been talking for a long time, and I still have to like finish my workout and eat supper.
All right, man, and we've gone so far off topic. It's amazing.
Sergio was making a lot of comments here, though, but he made so many that I only showed a few of them. And we actually coincidentally talked about a lot of the stuff that he was talking about when we were talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So thanks Sergio for commenting and watching this while we're doing it, and thanks to everyone for watching, and thanks you guys for talking. This is fun as always, especially since we gave our expert political opinions on a wide variety of topics and our expert medical advice, and thanks to those of you who subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Next Wednesday, I'm doing another podcast with the historian Daniele Bolelli, aka Zen
Nice.
Punisher, about how Hitler and the Nazis corrupted Nietzsche's work. So look forward to that one. And
Nice.
yeah, that's gonna be fun. And yeah, thanks to those of you who give me money on Patreon, which I always greatly appreciate too. And I'll put I have the link in the description of this video, as I always do. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all, and groove is in the heart. And I know we stopped talking about it a while ago, but Memento is awesome, and Christopher Nolan movies are awesome. You should watch them. And also, let us know all of your political disagreements with us in the comments, because that'll be fun, and it'll get the video more views. Oh, my phone's ringing, so I should end it right away here. So thanks everyone again for watching, and adios until next time, and thanks again, guys.
All right, take it
peace,
easy.
guys.